Well, it's finally happened. After literally years of iPhone SE rumors, we have a fresh, new 2020 model on Apple's website that's ready to pre-order. Hey, how's it going? I'm Josh from 91 Tech, and today we're talking about Apple's newest iPhone. Is the 2020 iPhone SE worth buying? Now keep in mind the phone isn't out, which does make this pretty speculative on my part. I will be buying it, as I already have pre-ordered it by the time this video is going up, and so you can expect my full review of the phone once I get it. But I think I can talk about it pretty clearly without having it in my hands, simply because this is something we've seen before. The new iPhone SE is an iPhone 8, but with an A13 chip and maybe slightly better camera, and that's pretty much it. As mentioned, pre-orders are open already. They opened at 5 a.m., so I actually had to get up before noon to order the phone, which, I mean, the sacrifices I make for you guys, I tell you. But the phone will be shipping on the 24th of April, so that's not too far off. And my initial thoughts on the iPhone SE, just based on what we've seen, this is an absolutely killer phone for a killer deal, so buy it. I mean, probably buy it. This phone isn't for everybody. If you have a better phone than it, you shouldn't buy it. But if you're wondering if you should buy it, you should probably buy it. If you or someone you know is looking for a somewhat budget-oriented brand new smartphone, the iPhone SE is the way to go. And I'm not just talking if you want an iPhone. This $400 phone has the best chipset of any smartphone on the market in it, which means it's going to be blazing fast, and it's going to continue to be that way for a very long time. Actually, I want to mention something. Before the iPhone SE, the iPhone 8 was still being sold on Apple's website for $450, while the SE is going for $400. So Apple actually reduced the price of their cheapest phone, even though it's like way better than the iPhone 8 was. So that's kind of great for the consumer, although not if you bought an iPhone 8 recently. So again, for $399, you're getting the same chipset as the iPhone 11 Pro, which is amazing, as well as a 12 megapixel rear camera. Now the camera is a bit of a touching point. No one's quite sure exactly what camera sensor it is, but from what I can find, it seems to be pretty much what's in the iPhone 8, but because of the faster chip, it does have better software behind it, so we should have like iPhone XR-esque photos. At least that's what I've seen floating around. Even if it's not as good, the iPhone 8 has still got a pretty good camera on it, so I think that's totally fine. The chipset alone makes this phone worth it. And with that camera, we also get portrait photos, which is pretty awesome considering there's only one lens, so that really just adds to the value. My initial impressions from what Apple's shown us don't reveal very many downsides. We start at 64 gigabytes of storage, which I think is totally fair. And then for 50 more bucks, you're getting 128 gigs, which is also a very good deal if you need that storage. Of course, the phone will be water resistant and wireless charging capable and fast charging capable, and that's all the same as the iPhone 8. There are a couple things that people are going to cite against this phone, and I don't think that they're necessarily good arguments, so let's touch on those. So you have the small display, home button, and battery life. I'm going to touch briefly on the battery first. This is an aspect I'm a bit disappointed in. Battery life apparently will match the iPhone 8's performance, which was okay, but tends to struggle after a year or two of good use. The iPhone 11 Pro managed to up the battery life by like 4 hours over the XS, so I was hoping the same would happen here, but apparently according to Apple's website, this isn't the case. However, in their ad for the SE, they do say good battery life, so I don't really know what to expect here. It is a small phone though, so it probably won't have the best battery life, and that's something to keep in mind. Okay, so maybe not the best battery in the world, but for 400 bucks, you're going to be making some concessions. And perhaps on the top of that concessions list for a lot of people is the home button and small display. Assuming you have some knowledge of current smartphones, you know that since 2017, Apple has been releasing iPhones with a notch and no home button. It's much closer to a bezel-less design than what we've seen with the iPhone 8 and by extension the SE too. That means you're getting an older feeling experience on a smaller display. The SE has a 4.7-inch Retina LCD panel, making it a fair bit smaller than the rest of the iPhones in Apple's current lineup. There also is the home button with Touch ID instead of Face ID, which in all fairness, some people prefer. When it comes down to it, the iPhone SE is an old dog with new tricks. It's just an iPhone 8 with an A13 chipset and a slightly better camera. And honestly, going into this, that's all I really wanted from the iPhone SE, because it means that the price point can be ridiculously fair. If you've been holding off upgrading and have an older iPhone with a home button still, the iPhone SE is the phone to get. You know, assuming you could care less about the newer design. The next step up from the iPhone SE is the iPhone XR for 600 bucks, so that's $200 more. With the XR, it's slightly slower, probably very similar camera performance, but it is bigger and you get the newer design with Face ID. Now, if you're thinking that the 4.7-inch iPhone SE, which is basically the small iPhone 8, is too small, you're not alone. A lot of people would prefer something bigger, but maybe still want a home button, and that's why there are some rumors of an iPhone SE Plus possibly coming out at the end of the year. None of this is confirmed, obviously, they're just rumors, but I do think it would make sense. You could have the $400 iPhone SE, the $500 iPhone SE Plus, and then the $600 iPhone XR. I mean, it just kind of makes sense. That said, we will have to wait and see what happens there, but if you do have, say, an iPhone 6 Plus and want to upgrade, but don't want a smaller phone, then it might not hurt to wait till the end of the year just to see what happens. But yeah, I'm pretty much done here. I just want to give some quick thoughts on the new iPhone and say basically this phone is going to be worth buying. Yeah, $400 for what you're getting, 5 years of updates with that A13 chip probably. That's really darn good value, which is something you don't usually say when it comes to an iPhone. So there you go. If you've been looking for a new iPhone and don't mind keeping the home button and smaller screen, then the iPhone SE2 is absolutely the way to go. That being said, of course, I want to hear your thoughts on the SE, so let me know in the comments down below. If you found this video interesting or helpful, maybe hit that like button and consider subscribing for more content just like this. And go follow me on Twitter and Instagram at 91_tech if you want to keep up with my thoughts on the iPhone SE, when I get it, and all that. And then there's also a 91tech Discord server, believe it or not, so if you want to chat with people about the iPhone SE or even chat with me, I'm on there a decent amount, then you should come do that. Link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Josh from 91tech, and I will see you all next time.